Hey guys, Dr. Castillo here again. Wanted to switch it up a little bit today. I wanted to do more kind of something that you could listen to maybe on the road. Maybe a little bit more in-depth conversation on my experience working with Spanish speakers, whether you're a chiropractic student, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a chiropractor in the field. I think you'll be able to appreciate this, and this will be information that is so unique. And I wish that I could have, as a doctor, I wish I could have like something like a GoPro on me, just to show people like how cool my life is. Not that I'm trying to like boast or impress you, but just to impress upon you that like I have some pretty unique experiences every single week that I work when it comes to like a cultural standpoint. And that's kind of something that I wanted to talk to you today about. And first, I'm going to start out with kind of like the trends that I've seen happening when it comes to Spanish speakers, how that connects with the chiropractic profession, and then a little bit of foreshadowing into the future on what it could be if chiropractors as a whole learn how to take on this type of clientele through basic understanding of Spanish. We're not talking complex. We're not talking about the ability to speak with the consul of Ecuador or some, refined politician. We're talking with just day-to-day people that want to know what's going on with their bodies and their spines and their muscles and their tendons and everything, and what you as a chiropractor can do to help them. So hope you guys enjoy this. I'm going to start out with 5-6 years ago. Okay, this is when I first started practicing. I started to see English speakers, Spanish speakers, African Americans, everyone. Somali, a huge melting pot. I actually worked on East Lake Street. And it was interesting because as I would walk around to stores nearby, I remember even walking into like an auto parts store. I just needed some oil, right? And I remember going into the screen where, you slip your card in, you put the chip in. I just had to buy something. And I was looking at the screen, and instantly the screen turned from English to Spanish. Notice it didn't turn to Somali. It didn't turn to some African language or Japanese or Chinese. It turned to Spanish. And this pattern happened in the area. I'd go to the Target. I remember there was a button that said Espanol on the kiosk, and it said beta version. It said beta. And I'm like, man, if Target is spending so much money to make sure that their kiosks are compatible or accessible to Spanish speakers, why can't chiropractors do that? Why can't chiropractors have this button on the outside of the office that says Espanol, and they can just click it, and all of a sudden staff just knows Spanish, figuratively speaking. And this idea came about, and I thought, wow, this could be a whole new world in 50 years, And that's where the idea came about for teaching chiropractors and chiropractic students how to not only learn basic Spanish, but be able to apply it specifically to a clinical setting. Because I had some Spanish background, but none of it was in a medical setting. So I had to learn from scratch over and over again. And it was so uncomfortable. But yeah, I'm now transitioning to, we know where the trends are, guys. Come on, Spanish speakers are coming. I mean, there are tons of Spanish speakers everywhere. It's the number 2 language in the United States. Comcast can take on Spanish speakers. Big box stores can take on Spanish speakers. Why can't you? Or why don't you plan to doing so? So basically the answer for that is understanding that we as chiropractors are kind of in a similar spot to Spanish speakers. Spanish speakers still kind of marginalized, in my opinion, still a little bit marginalized, but definitely on the rise. More and more Spanish speakers are becoming entrepreneurs, business owners, working really hard just to make it and create legacies for future generations. And I feel that chiropractors do the same thing. I mean, we pass on our practices to future generation chiropractors. We do our best to make an impact in the community. and be able to serve everyone possible, you know? And in my area, I'm in the Twin Cities area, tons of Spanish speakers. But sometimes I'll hear about a patient that says, I went to Kentucky, or I went to Washington the other week to see family. And I go, oh, really? Right, in Spanish. And I go, really? There's Spanish speakers in Washington? And I'm curious, right? And they're like, yeah. And they say like un montón, like a mountain of patients, like tons of, or not patients, people, Spanish speaking people. And I'm like, wow, what city? Right? And they tell me the city. And I go, that's interesting. Because I'm thinking, wow, why aren't chiropractors being able to say, and I'll sometimes for fun, I'll Google in the area, Spanish speaking chiropractors, and I won't find any, none. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that just as Spanish speakers are trying to grow and trying to make it in society, right? Not trying to be offensive, this is just my perception from taking care of them all the time, every single day. I feel like chiropractors could potentially grow substantially as far as community impact if we started to learn basic Spanish even in school or while we're working, right, with patients that we're with now. If we were to learn basic Spanish and hire Spanish speaking personnel, we would be able to impact the community more than perhaps other types of medical establishments, hospitals. Because think about it, like, look at hospitals. If you're a Spanish speaker, you walk into a hospital, boom, you got like 3 translators ready to rock and roll, and they're going to make sure that you get taken care of. Doesn't matter if you have insurance, paying cash, or if you have insurance, right? But it just so happens that most Spanish speakers, from my personal experience, don't even want to go see doctors. They don't. They don't want to see doctors for their neck pain or their low back pain. Guess what they're going to do first? Most Spanish speakers are going to try over-the-counter meds. They're going to try pain creams. We call them pomadas. A really popular one that I've seen used is VapoRub. It like cures everything, but it actually is effective. It actually is. And after that, usually they'll seek people in the community. They'll seek community members that do muscle work, right? Notice I didn't say they go to the doctor, they don't go to the hospital, right? Because that just doesn't make sense to the culture, right? So hopefully you're still paying attention. So think about it. They've tried the over the counter. They've tried going to see someone in the community that does muscle work, right? Kind of like under the table chiropractic care, we'll call it. And then they come see you. You're the chiropractor. And they're frustrated because if, for example, they can't bend over or can't work, if one community member can't work, that makes an impact. That makes a large impact, okay? And so that's a lot of pressure on, hopefully that's pressure on you, right? If you're seeing Spanish speakers, to do an awesome job, because when you do, guess what happens? You don't even have to ask. And even if you do ask, good for you, but you don't even have to ask. People talk. People talk. And it's funny because there are not many chiropractors that speak Spanish. So if you know Spanish, you become a little bit of a hot commodity for the community. And so people talk about you and they go, oh my gosh, this chiropractor, he can speak Spanish, he understood me, just go see him or her. And you see where I'm going with this? Like this I don't understand. Like I feel like I'm the only one that's excited about this, but there are other Spanish speaking chiropractors in the area where I'm in. We're talking 3, maybe 4, that service hundreds of Spanish speaking patients. And these patients drive by so many English speaking chiropractic offices, it's insane. But it's because of the language. It's strictly because of the language. And so this is kind of like a message of hope, because if we as chiropractors understand this trend, right, that hundreds of Spanish speakers are coming to the United States and they're looking for chiropractic, they're already looking for chiropractic care. They don't want to go see medical doctors. They don't. Now, if you grew up here in the United States, that's kind of how things are done. If you get sick, you go to your general doctor, right? And the Spanish-speaking culture is completely different. Completely different. So you're a chiropractor. And if there are Spanish speakers around you, they already want your care. They already want it. And if you don't know it, now you know it, right? Now you know it. And so I want to give you hope that this could be huge for your practice or your potential practice if you learn basic Spanish skills that I can help you with, all right? Basic Spanish protocols that we utilize in our office that make our clinics successful. And if you're open to learning more, feel free to just reach out to me, all right? I'm going to put my contact info below. I have unlimited enthusiasm and ideas for this new venture that I'm starting. And I would be more than happy to walk alongside you and make sure that your clinic or your clinic to be has a little, remember that little button on the side that says Espanol. So figuratively speaking, you'll be able to service the community, right? So hope you guys enjoyed that little rants. And I'm going to be doing more of these. I'm going to categorize these videos in just kind of road rants or talks that you can listen to while you're driving, just so you can kind of take in the information and get some really awesome insights on what it's like, to take care of Spanish speakers, to see if it could be the right thing for you, right? So I'm going to sign off. You guys have a blessed day, and on to the next video.